Well, the minister herself joins us live. Ms. Hannatu Musawa. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
How long did it take to film that?
It didn't take long to film it. It took a little longer to maybe the post-production.
Yeah.
And writing it was not, it didn't take too long either.
It coincidentally came out for the 1st of October, Independence Day.
Yeah.
Was that deliberate?
Yeah, it was.
It was your own piece from your office or from your ministry to the rest of the nation, isn't it?
No, actually, it was the president's idea. Many months ago, he called me and showed me a piece that he had seen called I Am Nigerian, written by Nkuru Asika. And he wanted me to do something about it in terms of how we could sort of present that kind of patriotism that the piece elicited. So I said to him that I would see what I would do. So I took the spoken word that she did, turned it into a poem, and then extended it. So what you have seen there is one part out of 7. It's a series of 7.
Did you give credit to her, though?
Yes, of course we did. We gave credit to her spoken word. The poem was written by myself. So we gave credit to her. There's part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 7. So by the time everything unveils, I think there'll be a lot of surprises along the way. So Nigerians should be stay tuned to see the beautiful, message that's going to come out.
So you're a minister, yet you're a talent in the ministry also. But interestingly, there are a lot of people who thought that you are a powerful woman, politically speaking. By the virtue of the controversy around you and your NYSC, you shouldn't be in cabinet. How did you find your way to becoming a minister without an NYSC certificate in the first place? Well,
you say that, but I don't know what you have heard. You know, there's been so many different accounts of that particular situation. The fact that I'm sat here should tell you that really nothing I didn't do anything wrong. I have not come out to set the record straight as to really what happened. The media, social media has just run rife with different accounts. The matter has been adjudicated, and you know, one day I will come out with my own account, and the fact that I'm sat here should tell you.
Summarize it for us tonight in one sentence.
Well, I can tell you.
Because you owe Nigerians that explanation.
I think what I can tell you is I've probably done more NYSC than yourself. I've done at least 2 years of NYSC in my life, but you know, like I said, one day I will come out to give a proper account of what happened.
Is this something that someone vilified you, or what exactly is the true picture of things?
Perhaps.
Because you owe Nigerians that much. You cannot run away or shy away from telling Nigerians, because you are holding that office in trust. But there are 200 million more people that are fit for that office, but you are one out of those that are been appointed. So you know Nigerians the explanation, Minister, don't you think? I think what I owe Nigerians is to say that I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't break the law. I didn't do anything wrong. And NYSC I did, and I finished. I've got my NYSC, and only that you concluded when you were in office.
Well, maybe not. You know, that is not the proper account.
But your certificate reads that you finished just when you were in office.
Is that what it says?
That's what your certificate says, as much as we know.
Well, I don't know
the NYSC's position at the time.
I don't know about
that. Your date of conclusion coincides with when you were in office, and you are said to have attended to NYSC procedures while in office. Is that legally? You are a lawyer, so you know the implication of that.
I can assure you that nothing was done to break law or to break regulations. That is what I can say to you. Absolutely nothing. Everything that I did was in accordance with the law. And that is the situation, that is the position. And like I said, one day I will come out with an account of my own account of what happened to set the record straight. But as of now, I think it is important for me to focus on giving Nigerians the deliverables. The fact that I'm sat here and the fact that this matter was adjudicated in court should give Nigerians the satisfaction that, you know, I do deserve to, as any other Nigerian, to be given the opportunity to serve my country at this level.
You don't think that you're more some kind of political burden to the president? No, the president is thinking about reshuffling his cabinet. You worry that you might not make the cut with all of the controversies and the issues around your office and your person?
You know, well, I don't think there's a controversy about my person, and I don't think there's a controversy about my office. I beg to differ. What I can tell you is I campaigned with the president, and I trust his judgment. I know, what I know of the president is that he has a mission and a vision to make Nigeria better than what he met it. He is a man that is very courageous. I think as a leader, you have to take courageous decisions. In order for him to give Nigerians those deliverables, he needs a team of lieutenants to do that. And I think it is healthy in any democracy and for any administration for him to look at his cabinet and his lieutenants to see who are working in tandem with him to give those deliverables. And if anybody isn't, I think we have to trust his judgment. So I'm not worried because I know that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has the best interest of the nation, and whatever decision he will make in terms of the restructuring or otherwise of his cabinet is going to be in the best interest of delivering that mission and vision for Nigerians.
You are heading a ministry that compared to other African countries has the lowest in terms of GDP to the economy, and it's less than 1.5% of the GDP. And you had promised, and you are hoping that Nigeria can get nothing less than $100 billion in that sector. It's almost a year. Have we gotten $1 yet?
Yes, you have, actually. To be honest with you, you know, when we came into this ministry, we found that we had to start from ground zero. I think one thing that you have to give credit to the president is the fact that he created this ministry in the first place.
Oh, there's been an arts and culture ministry.
Yeah, but there's not been the component of creative industry, which is the biggest part of the ministry.
Now.
Yes, now. Well, in the world.
Because we don't see any structure yet for the creative economy. What we have seen is more of the art and culture, the existing structure in the parastatals under your ministry.
But even the existing structure that you've had, a lot of them were somewhat obsolete. For example, the cultural policy that we had was one that was obsolete and needed to be updated. So even the component that you had existing before was invariably overshadowed by information, because it was always under information. So now you have a ministry, arts, culture, creative industry, and really tourism really go together. So you have a ministry that is able to cater specifically to that sector. And like I said, when I came on, I found that we had to start from ground zero because nothing had been done for the creative industry. And as we know, now when we talk about the fact that Nigerians are doing absolutely astronomically well on a global stage, we know that they were able to do that on their own organically, and government had really done nothing to put any structure in place, which is the reason why you see not much contribution to the GDP. So in coming in, I brought in the likes, so you don't need to reinvent the wheel, so I brought in the likes of BCG, McKinsey, EY, and asked BCG to do a proper sort of deep dive for me to see what we can do in terms of being able to reap the full potential and value of the industry. So they use benchmark countries such as in South Korea and other climes where they've been able to really leverage on that creative industry and the cultural industry in Brazil and some other countries like in America to really add a great expansion to the economy. So they used that and they bought the structures that were put in place in those countries, and then they brought it to Nigeria, and what we did was we sort of localized it. And in doing that, we have been putting up those strategies in place. So what you have seen us do is work towards a very meticulous effort in putting those strategies in place.
All right.
We're at the implementation stage now. So
just give me a moment.
Okay.
Let's go on the break. But when we return, the minister is going to be telling us, well, there are plans, according to the ministry. I've seen a few of those. And the ministry is also now talking about achievement. Well, if you have not seen any of those, also, we'll be asking, What are those plans? About 8 or 9 of the priorities of this ministry. How much of those have they been able to do? They say they can push the benchmark in terms of how much of money we can get from the creative economy. There are those who will say we are not producing as much as we need to produce as a people. Would this ministry be able to give us more money than we think? We'll find out more after this break, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. The Minister of Arts, Culture, and the Creative Economy, Ms. Anato Musawa, is also a lawyer who's been speaking with us on the program. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's dive into it. You are talking about how much of plan that you have. You've set out 8-point plan. If you can take a minute to just look at it, because I have so much questions to ask, from building a destination Nigeria 2030 to skills development, fast tracking policy frameworks and all whatnot. Can you just in about a minute tell us what is 8-point plan? This is your ministry and this is your coming from your desk, isn't it?
Yes, of course. So, you know, this 8-point agenda, this is the strategy that we came up with BCG in order for us to be able to give this economic expansion that you spoke of earlier on, which we're looking at $100 billion increase in the GDP, and also to have a cultural expansion, making Nigeria the cultural hub, soft power initiative that we've come up with, and also job creation. We keep on talking about the younger demographic. So this 8-point plan that we have, what you see, all the things, if you put in place, will catalyze and be able to give us the ability to do that. Now, under this 8-point plan, what you have is also 14 key initiatives that we've been able to identify. Once everything is in place, you will find, I mean, our target for 2027 is 20 billion naira increase in the, $20 billion, sorry, increase to the GDP. Hopefully, by 2027, once all these modalities are in place, what we hope to see is a replication of what happened in the telecoms industry.
So in 3 years, you want to grow the economy, the sector
to contribute
to the economy as much as $20 billion. And what is contributing less than $1 billion at the moment? In fact, less than $100 million at the moment. But you want to go. Is that realistic?
It's very realistic.
You're telling Nigerians what is unrealistic.
It's not unrealistic. It's actually not unrealistic, given the fact that there's no structure in place. Like we spoke to you earlier on about the fact that there's no structure. So even without structure, we're able to contribute to a certain extent. And then you have to look at most of the value that comes into the creative economy space for Nigeria is taken outside. Once you close all the lacunas and you're able to bring that value in, that will have a huge impact.
How much of a structure have you built in the last year?
So what structure we have built, the first and foremost, of course, has to be policy. So we have signed MOUs.
A framework?
Yeah, a framework, a policy framework.
Is it a legal framework or policy framework?
No, policy framework. Okay. Of course, we get to the legal framework as well. But policy framework is key. When you talk about the creative industry and trying to find some level of investment and securitization, you can't really talk about it without the foundational step of IP, intellectual property. So we have been working with NESG to develop a number of policies, starting with IP policy, which will be delivered to Nigeria in at the most in 2 weeks.
There was an amendment to the law,
yes,
which was done last year.
Yeah.
That amendment, were you aware of it? Did you contribute to it?
No.
Did your ministry contribute?
No, we
because
didn't.
I know that this government inherited that and it was passed just about when the last government was going out.
Yeah, no, we didn't contribute to it. I mean, when we came on, that's why I said that's why I said we started from ground zero.
Have you been able to look at the law, whether or not it is industry standard compared to what global practices has to offer?
Yeah, these are all this is all the sort of interrogation process that we're doing. I said to you earlier on that a number of the policies and a number of the laws are obsolete. So we need to bring them up to, like you said, global standard practice, which is part of the work that they did with BCG, to look at what is the global standard and localize it, bring it into Nigeria, then localize it. So, like I said, IP, going back to IP is the formidable structure that you have to have in place in
intellectual property.
Intellectual property.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, intellectual property. So we have done an MOU with NESG. We've been working meticulously, and the reason why it has been slow is because you have to do a meticulous process where you have to have all the different interests. You know, you have to do a proper stakeholder engagement. And we have been able to do a very thorough job. And looking at the fact that it's 49 subsectors, everyone has been represented. It's at the very final stage. We did this together in collaboration with the Ministry of Trade and Investment, Honourable Minister Doris, and it's now with the Attorney General. So by next week, I think on the 14th of this month, is when we're having the stakeholder engagement to look at the policy.
Minister.
And it will be delivered. I just have to say this, it will be delivered in 2 weeks. So that is in terms of the policy. Cultural policy is coming straight after that. Creative economy policy is coming after that. Then you have the incentives policy, the monetary policy. So a number of different policies to put a proper structure in place to catalyze and to encourage the enabling environment that we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, we will hold your feet to the fire as a political party. Because enough of the English now, that your political party
Well, I didn't think you wanted me to speak French.
No. When I say English, I'm talking about the messaging.
I know.
So a lot of Nigerians have heard your party talk about so lofty ideas, and it's not the lack of the ideas that Nigeria is suffering from. It's the lack of the focus and the purpose. Our people are living in abject poverty.
Okay.
A lot of and the potentials are there. And first, on one hand, is how much of jobs, and we want numbers now. We want you to be realistic with us. How much of jobs can your ministry give to Nigerians in 1 year?
So, well, let me go better than that. So we have signed an MOU with Big Win to deliver jobs in the industry, specifically for a younger demographic, right? Initially, our target was to get 2 million jobs by 2027, but now that has been extended to at least 2 million jobs by 2030. Together with
where and how? Well, let us know what exactly. Where are these jobs going to?
Big is in the creative industry. Is within the full spectrum of the creative industry.
Is it music?
No, you can't say that. It's everywhere. You see what
we want to know specifically.
No, we're not going to pigeonhole the industry or the ministry.
You know the reason why, Minister, that some of us will not allow a blanket statement as to jobs, because there are millions of people who are there who are looking for those opportunities. Want to hear them. They want to know specifically.
But
if you say that there are going to be jobs, they want to know so that they can look out for
it.
But
I, as a minister, sitting in a ministry with a creative industry that has 49 subsectors, I also will not allow a situation where a narrative is pressed that a certain subsector within a certain element within those subsectors is more important than others. Film, music, fashion, those are extremely important parts of the subsectors.
But Nigerians need to know where these...
But there are people in rural communities that don't have that accessibility, and they have to know that their ability to leverage on the creative industry is as important as the bigger subsectors, such as film and industry.
So you can't tell us where the 2 million jobs are going to specifically come from?
When Big Win comes with their strategy, because they already have a strategy that they used in Rwanda, for example, and like I said, we have signed an MOU with them. We are about to roll out that particular strategy. When it comes, you will find all the different details as to that respect. But like I said, as a minister of creative industry that sits atop 49 subsectors, I will treat every single subsector the same. Comedy, craft, everything, sculpturing, gaming, animation is all the same. And these jobs will be spread across the full spectrum of that industry.
So you have, in terms of mention and all that, you have Hollywood, you have Bollywood, you have Nollywood. Now, Nollywood was a sector, just like many other sectors, grew itself.
Yeah.
Without government's government's push, because in all of this, for example, there are those who will say India leveraged their film industry to generate over $2 billion in exports annually.
Yeah.
A lot of what we see in the film sector in Nigeria, government had no role to play.
Absolutely.
It's been private sector.
Yeah.
How much of effort are you putting in pushing the film sector?
100% effort, because, you know, I spoke to you earlier on about the fact that government up until now had done nothing. This is the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the first that has come in to look at a ministry that is supposed to cater specifically. So in coming in, I found that nothing was in place. Now, we've spoken about the issue of policy. Now you look at the issue of infrastructure. You've just spoken about India. The fact that India is able to benefit economically is because they have the infrastructure in place. There's no...
What infrastructure are you building?
We're building a horde of infrastructures, right? Let's start with...
Is it production or...
Everything.
Exposure infrastructures?
It's absolutely everything. We're looking at cinemas. India has 10,000 cinemas. Nigeria, we only have 70 cinemas. So, you know, how are you expected to grow the industry without this infrastructure? We're talking about arenas. There's not one arena in Nigeria. So you, as a Nigerian, wanting to listen to Afrobeats, has to go to another country if you want to listen to it in an arena. So we are building arenas all over the country. We're building these cottage cinemas, incubation hubs, clusters that will accelerators, that will allow within the locality creatives to go and create. We're building Abuja Creative City in conjunction, together in partnership with the Ministry of FCT. That will be a one-stop shop for everything along the full 49 subsectors.
So we know, Minister, we know what Hollywood did for America's image.
Yeah.
And perhaps Hollywood has portrayed Russia as a brutish and bullish kind of governmental, I mean, and portrayed China the way it is, portrayed India. Now, Hollywood has been able to give a statement about the American people. So there are a lot of people who imagine that, is that a deliberate effort of this government to give Nigeria the kind of image? When we saw last of a deliberate effort of the government to portray an image of Nigeria was during Dora Akuyili's time as a minister. A lot of criticism came. Lai Mohammed tried that, albeit with a lot of controversy and affair. Are you putting a deliberate effort in giving Nigeria the kind of image that Hollywood gave America?
Well, if you've not seen it before, you're going to see it now. The fact that we even launched Destination 2030, that's really what Destination 2030 is. Destination 2030 is an initiative that hopes to leverage on the cultural and creative industry to reposition Nigeria. Already now we have gone up 14 points on the Global Soft Power Ranking Index. So already, like, you know, we've agreed that the creators have done astronomical job in terms, organically on their own, in terms of showcasing Nigerian content, talent and creativity, right? So that's what the government now wants to look at. To all the interest in the world in Nigeria is really lying within the creative and cultural space. So government is now coming in and just looking at that to see what we can do. Destination 2030 was launched earlier on in the year. And in every single global summit or what have you, the Biennale, the Davos at UNGA, we have taken Destination 2030 globally. The poem that you saw earlier on is part of Destination 2030.
Minister, we need to go now because we're totally out of time.
The infrastructure. We didn't talk about the infrastructure. There's so much to talk about.
National Theatre, when is going to be
National Theatre, thank goodness for PPP. The Committee of Bankers came in and fixed the National Theatre as a gift to Nigeria. That national edifice, by the end of this month, will be handed over to the federal government.
We need to go. The Burna Boys of this world, the Davidos, the Wizkids of this world are making Nigeria proud. The monies from TikTok, from YouTube, from Twitter, all of those money come just above the head of this government. Little or nothing come directly into the economy. But that's
until now.
As it started coming.
That's what I'm saying. Once we put the structures in place, the value will be brought back home.
Mr. Anato Musawa, Minister of Arts and Culture and the Creative Economy, thanks so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Sharon. Thank you.
That's awesome.